What's up guys, welcome to Monchkinz Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Monchkinz logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and welcome back to another Should You Pull video where I give you my opinions for upcoming banners coming to the global version of the game. And in this video we are going to talk about Strago'S event, and with this event comes with Relm's rework. So we'll go through that and we'll go over Strago'S as well in his entire kit. So as you guys can see, this is something different. This is not how I usually do my Should You Pulls, but don't worry, this is only temporary. Probably for the next 3 weeks of Should You Pulls is going to be like this, and I have explained it in my previous video on Emperor's Lost Chapter challenge quest. Story time is about why my videos are going to be like this. Basically, long story short, it is because of work. I am recording a little bit early, 3 days early for this event, only because I am going to be very busy in the next 3 days. Lots of change of shifts and stuff like that, and I don't think I'll have the energy to actually edit, unfortunately. And then after that, I'm gonna be on night shift starting this Sunday as well this week, and I'll be on night shift for the next 2 weeks. So unfortunately, yeah, you're stuck with this kind of video. Not that it's bad or anything, I just feel like I can summarize things better in my usual format, because I can take off anything that's not really necessary, that hasn't changed. But enough of that, let's talk about Relm's rework first. So the small change is the level 58 passive. She gets an increase of the percentage. It used to be just a little slight increase, so usually when they say slight, it's about 10 to 20%. You can correct me if I'm wrong about that, but they are increasing this to 40%. Now for the sketch summon extend, this gets 2 extra uses. I do have the game running on my other screen, so I'm just gonna double check. Yep, so it gets 2 extra uses, so that's really nice. The biggest change here is going to be the 4-hit AoE Magic Brave attack before the HP attack. This is an increase to the previous one, or I guess it really depended on what your summon was, right? So and the Stolen Brave can overflow now to 150%, which was previously, oh no, wait, so sorry about that. So previously it was still 150%, so that is still the same. The biggest change is basically the triggering of the 4-hit AoE Magic Brave attack, and everything else pretty much stays the same. Nothing else really changed with the sketch summon except for those two. Those are the two things that I'm highlighting. And as for the sketch extend, it does get 4 extra uses now, whereas before you only get 2. It does now increase the party's Brave by 30% of the max Brave before the Brave attack, and I do believe that is new. I'm just going to double check that. Yep, it's not there. So and the Brave hit count increases to 5, whereas before it was 3. The overflow as well has been changed to 150%, whereas previously it was 120%. It does get an increase in potency as well, just like most of the reworks, and that's basically it. It does trigger the HP attack, obviously, that's old, and the sketch plus is pretty much the same. So that is basically it for Relm's rework. It doesn't sound like it's a lot, but the increase in potencies, increase in Brave hits are definitely going to help with reaching her max Brave. So she does get EX Plus as well, so we'll go through that. But first, let's go to her regular EX. So her regular EX is a 6-hit AoE Magic Brave attack plus HP attack, and the Brave hits is distributed based on the number of enemies. The Stolen Brave can overflow up to 150% and will deal basically split damage, and all targets will get like 2 turns of sketch. This is a slightly slow recast speed, and yeah, Sketch lowers attack by 20%. 1 out of 3, you get the increase in Brave damage. 2 out of 3, increase in recast speed. And 3 out of 3, you get the HP attack, which is, yeah, you know, it's nice before, because HP attack plus was kind of a rarity back then. So this is nice. So let's take a look at her EX plus. So at 0 out of 3, this basically gets an increase in potency. You get the increase in Brave damage dealt when attacking targets afflicted with Sketch, and then you get a increase of overflow by 30%, and increases on Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt. Now before we go on, I did forget, I want to thank, you know, Dissidia DB for all this information, by the way. And I do have the Reddit up as well, so I'll leave all these in the description below, the link for them. So 1 out of 3, just the usual, you get the increase in max Brave by 40%, increase in attack by 60, which is nice. 2 out of 3, you get the increase in recast speed again, so that is really nice because it starts with slightly slow, right? So that is very, very nice. When the quest starts, you get all those buffs up, and then when the battle starts, all the targets get 2 turns of Sketch, which is very nice because this makes sure that, you know, you don't really have to use Sketch to apply Sketch. Yeah. So at 3 out of 3, this becomes a 12-hit AoE Magic Brave attack plus AoE HP attack that is delivered twice. So that is a very powerful 3 out of 3 altogether. You get the increase in Brave potency and of course the increase in Stolen Brave. You also get access to the Brave attack plus plus and HP attack plus plus. I think the most important here is the HP attack plus plus, which now becomes a 2-hit Magic Brave attack. This also increases the party's Brave by 20% of the max Brave. Before they attack, it will have a 120% max Brave overflow and extends her own buffs by 1 turn, and also has a low action delay. So that is basically it for Relm's rework and her EX plus. So just like my videos, you know, how much should you be investing on Relm's EX plus, I guess. So she doesn't get a LD yet at this point in time. I actually don't know if she actually gets an LD yet later down the track. I haven't really looked into that, and I forgot. So if she even did. So anyway, you can of course correct me in the comment section down below anyway, so a lot of people do. So what do I think, how much you should invest on Relm? Honestly, to me it looks like you can sort of get away with 2 out of 3, but I would highly recommend really going 3 out of 3. 12 hit AoE is nothing to joke at, especially if, you know, there's only 2 targets or even just 1 target. That's a lot of damage. And it is going to be delivered twice, which is really, really nice. You also get the longevity argument that I usually put in, which is okay, sorry about that. I will just ignore that. We'll just ignore that. How do I ignore this? There we go. So yeah, the longevity argument that I always use, HP attack plus plus, is, well, it, you know, it's not that, I guess it's pretty good. To me it's pretty good, because you get the increase in Brave in the party based on the max Brave before she attacks, and you get, you know, the 2 hits, which is okay, especially for a plus plus. So having a low action delay is great as well. You can get more potency if the opponent has Sketch debuff. So overall, I think 3 out of 3 is the way I'm gonna go for Relm. And guys, she is gonna be Lavinia ready if you do max her out. So she's one of the few characters that will be pretty well off even with her EX plus only. Even without the LD, she does save you a lot of turns. The only issue is obviously you have to manage the turn shenanigans that she does. So if you can handle that, then some Lavinia fights, she will be very viable as well. So that's all I can say about Relm. Okay guys, now let's talk about a brand new character that we are going to be getting in the global version of the game, and he is Strago. I was gonna say he's called Strago. So let's talk about what he is. So he is going to be a damage dealer, a magic DPS with low ability uses count, but there is a reason for that. And you know, we'll go over through that obviously with his command abilities. He does get an LD as well, so let's go through it real quick. So his first ability is Quasar or Quasar. It is going to be a 3-hit AoE magic brave attack plus AoE HP attack. This will deal 100% damage to all targets, and he will get the Magnus Descent buff for 3 turns. Obviously this is probably going to be extended in the Crystal Awakening. We'll go through that later. So Magnus Descent basically increases his max brave and attack. Okay, and this will trigger a second cast if he has the Soul of Tamasa active, and the break bonus is only applied once. So how do you get the Soul of Tamasa? Because you really want it to be triggered twice, right? Well, his second ability, called Brave to Death, basically it will break the target if the brave is even. So that is pretty head scratching when you read it here. Going through to the Reddit one, it does say if the target's brave is an even number, it will break the target. And then it will be followed up by the 2-hit AoE magic brave attack plus AoE HP attack. So that's what it means there. And it will deal a proportionate HP damage, which just means it's split damage. This will grant Magnus Descent as well, and when breaking or attacking a broken target, he will get the Soul of Tamasa for 1 turn, which is what you really want. And this triggers a second cast as well if you have Soul of Tamasa is already active. Soul of Tamasa basically raises his attack and it only lasts for 1 turn, right? So basically you want Soul of Tamasa to make sure you are using your abilities to their full potential. So now let's talk about his Crystal Passive Awakening. So at 55 his brave attacks will now ignore defense for Quasar, and brave hit count increases to 6, which doubles it, increasing brave potency, and he gets access to both brave attack plus and HP attack plus. So that is nice. Brave to Death Extend basically will double its brave hit count as well, increasing its damage, and will get a 120% max brave overflow limit. Unfortunately, his ability 1, Quasar, does not get a max brave overflow, and he will get the chain spell variation of HP attack plus if he has Soul of Tamasa active. This will be a 2-hit magic brave plus HP attack, which is going to be delivered twice. Now with his 15 CP, he just gets brave increased potency and increasing the damage dealt, increasing the brave damage dealt when attacking a single target, and also extends the Magus Descent. So that's for his ability 1. Ability 2, Brave to Death, will get an increase in brave potency and increasing the damage when there's a single target, and also extending the duration of Magnus Descent and Soul of Tamasa. So that is that for his ability 1. Ability 2, pretty straightforward, to be completely honest with you. You just want the Soul of Tamasa in there to make sure that you are able to use his ability twice. So that is really great. I guess it's great. It's also probably a good idea for me to mention his C65 path ability, which is granting him 1 turn of Soul of Tamasa and increasing his attack for 1 turn. Now if you have the Bloomstone, I do believe this is going to increase by to 3 turns, not the Soul of Tamasa but the attack. Yeah, so it gets 2 extra uses, and the attack, it does extend the Soul of Tamasa by 1 turn as well. So that is really great. You really want that. Soul of Tomasa, very, very important. Alright, let's talk about his EX ability, which is Saber Soul, which is a 5-hit AoE Magic Brave plus AoE HP attack. This is going to increase more damage when dealing with a single target. You do get 120% Max Brave Overflow and split HP damage. This also grants him that Soul of Tomasa buff for 1 turn, and will trigger a second cast if you do have the Soul of Tomasa as well. So this is, however, will be running at a slightly slow recast speed, and then at 1 out of 3 increase in Brave hits, 2 out of 3 increasing the Soul of Tomasa by 1 turn, so it's now 2 turns. 3 out of 3 just increases its recast speed. Pretty straightforward. Moving on to the EX Plus at 0 out of 3, it does increase in Brave potency, increasing the Max Brave Overflow, and he gets a new buff called Reclaimed Hope for 6 turns. This will increase his attack and the Stolen Brave Overflow limit. At 1 out of 3, he just gets an increased Max Brave and attack, and 2 out of 3, he will have the Reclaimed Hope buff and Magnus Descent for 6 turns. And at 3 out of 3, this increases the Brave hit count. You know, I guess you can say it already triggers twice if you have the Soul of Tomasa, so that's why I think they didn't really say it triggers twice once more. I guess that would be too OP. It'll be triggering like 4 times or something like that. Anyway, this will have increase in Brave potency and slightly Max Brave Overflow limit increase. Now when he's using the Chain Spell, which is the HP plus variant when he has Soul of Tomasa, this now increases the number of Brave hits by 2, increasing its potency, and then you get the Brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after the first HP attack. And then the Stolen Brave can overflow to 120% of his Max Brave. He also gets Brave Attack Plus Plus, which is 6-hit Magic Brave Attack, which is a lot for a plus plus. And he also gets the normal HP Attack Plus Plus if you don't have the Soul of Tomasa buff up. So this is going to be a 3-hit Magic Brave plus HP Attack with 120% Max Brave Overflow limit. Okay, so talking about his LD, which gives him the LD ability Grand Delta. This does break the enemies before attacking, so that is already great. So think of it as lightning. He has the re-break thing going on with him, and then if the enemy is already broken, it will cancel the break and inflict break again. So there's no escape from getting broken. So it's going to be an 8-hit AoE Magic Brave plus AoE HP attack. This will deal 100% HP damage and will have a 120% Max Brave Overflow, increase attack again, increase Brave damage in single target, and does not consume abilities, uses for the next turn excluding the LD ability. This is a very important because of his low ability usage, so this is going to be very, very important. This will also get a second cast if he has the Soul of Tomasa, which is kind of his gimmick, right? He always attacks twice as long as he has that buff. This will have 3 uses, and at 1 out of 3 he just gets an increased attack, increased Brave damage. 2 out of 3 he gets Soul of Tomasa for 2 turns now, and of course increasing his attack again. And at 3 out of 3 he gets 1 extra use of his Grand Delta. So what do I think of Strago'S? I think he is a pretty good and pretty decent magic damage dealer. His gimmick is having the Soul of Tomasa, making sure that he can attack twice all the time. His LD is very important in my opinion. Not that he won't survive without it, but it just makes his longevity much better. Having access to Soul of Tomasa when you use it as well is really great to refresh it, and it also makes sure that you can use your ability 1 or ability 2 for free for at least 4 times, because it does get 4 usage count. So that's the reason why Strago has a very low amount of ability usage. It's just managing his ability usage in my opinion. So do I think you should 3 out of 3 him? in terms of his EX plus, a definite yes, because he is a damage dealer first and foremost. And as you guys know, with magic, not just magic dealers, with damage dealers, it's just the potential for them just becomes so low if they don't really have any supportive abilities for the entire party. They can always be replaced. It's just the scaling is not great as with any other damage dealers. They can be great for the next few months, but starts to fall off later on because, you know, they need that support more than the support needs them, because even with just support characters, there's other ways to brave shave or to survive an HP attack and stuff like that. So not that damage dealers are like terrible, but they're a dime a dozen. So there's always going to be someone who has a better damage output, and you know, as obviously how the game progresses. So that's all I have to warn you about, but he is a very good one if you know how to manage his abilities. So yeah, definite 3 out of 3 for me. And does he need his LD? I think it would be really great if you can get the LD. It just increases his longevity once again, and I think, you know, like I said, he's pretty good. And yeah, that's all I can really say for Strago'S. He's a very straightforward magic DPS. And now for the final bit of the video, which is the question, should you pull? Honestly guys, this is pretty difficult for me to really say go ahead and pull. If you are looking into the future and thinking you want to sort of have a character that can be viable in Lithuania even with just an EX plus, I suggest you chase for Relm rather than Strago. Strago is nice to have, but once again, it's more of just a damage dealer. So I think, in my opinion, the prize here is not Strago himself, but Relm. So if you can get Relm, that would be really great. If you already have Relm, I mean, if you love Strago, and if you're still missing Kefka's burst, I guess if you're chasing for that, this is not a bad banner to pull on, because obviously he's a new character, so you can get new weapons instead of getting dupes. I think that's what I'm gonna say. If you have Relm already, the only reason why you're gonna pull for this is, one, you're lacking some damage dealers. Number two, you're chasing for Kefka's burst weapon, and this is actually a pretty nice one to grab, not dupes weapons, because Strago is a new character. And you probably will be skipping this if you already have Relm at EX, I mean with her EX and fully limit broken. All you have to do is EX plus her basically. For me personally, I want to get Relm's EX. I have tried it to get a few times in the past, but with no success. But with my resources right now, I don't know if I'm going to get her. I'm hoping I am, and that is the goal. And looking into future banners, I mean, there's a lot of very good characters coming out later down the track. I'm pretty sure I have the DFFOO timeline here. It's not the most up-to-date thing, but let's go through it. This is Jake Matt's visual forecast, so thank you very much for Jakey Matty for doing this. So the next one is going to be Warrior of Light Burst, which I personally want to get as well, and his LD, because I actually started liking Warrior of Light since his first rework. So That would be very nice. Then you get 8 Lost Chapter, which is that's more of a meh. Unless you're a big 8 fan. I actually wanted this EX when they first came out, but Kurosame, this is one of the most hyped characters coming out. So yeah, Kurosame. If I don't get the burst here, this is where I'm going to try and get it. Kurosame. Yep. And then you got Kuja, which is okay. He gets a rework as well, as you guys can see. Then we have the Gao. Yeah, I think this is where the Lufinia starts, if I remember correctly. You can correct me down in the comments below if I'm wrong. But I think somewhere around here. I think, was it this one with Warrior of Light's Burst? Yeah. Anyway, I'm just guessing right now because I can't remember on top of my head. So, but anyway, Gladio is another one that's very hyped up. So these two are going to be very, very useful in terms of clearing Lufinia. And of course, my girl Lightning gets her burst. I'm really going to try and save up as much as I can. The only ones that I'm really going to be pulling for is probably throw tickets to get his Warrior of Light's LD and getting Kurosame as well, and then skipping pretty much everyone and trying to get Gladio. If I get Kuja's LD, I would be pretty happy with that, but I'm not chasing his burst. And then Lightning. I have to get Lightning. But that is what it's looking like, guys. Yeah, there's just so many characters that are going to be very, very good in the future. So hopefully this video does help you guys make a decision. If you want the visual forecast, you can Google it, and it should show up. And once again, you know, like and subscribe, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, you can follow me on Facebook and on Twitter at Monchkinz Gaming. Would really appreciate it if you do leave a like and subscribe, even though the format is like this, and it's probably a much longer video because I didn't really edit it much. Anyway, let me know down in the comments below if you're gonna pull for this. Are you gonna pull for Strago, or are you gonna be pulling for Relm like I am? Let me know down there. This is Monchkinz logging off. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next level.